You lock eyes with a stranger on the subway, just for a second. You look away first. Your heart is beating a little faster now. You tell yourself it was nothing. But the real answer is far stranger than nothing. Somewhere in your skull, an ancient alarm just went off. It fired before you even decided to look away. It fired before you had a single conscious thought about the person across from you. This is not politeness. This is not shyness. This is a survival circuit older than language, older than fire, older than your species itself. Why does a stranger's gaze do this to you? Why does eye contact feel like electricity? The answer starts millions of years ago, in a world where being watched could mean you were about to die. Picture the earliest humans moving across open grassland. Predators everywhere. Danger hidden in tall grass. In that world, one skill mattered more than almost any other: knowing when something was looking at you. A rustle in the brush was nothing. Eyes pointed directly at your body was everything. Detecting a predator's gaze half a second faster than the human next to you was the difference between passing on your genes and becoming someone else's meal. Your brain built a shortcut for this. Neuroscientists have found that direct gaze activates the amygdala, the almond-shaped structure buried deep in your brain that handles threat detection faster and more strongly than almost any other social signal. Researcher Natalie George and her colleagues showed that a face looking straight at you triggers more amygdala activity than the same face looking away. Your brain is not choosing to react. It is reacting before choice is even possible. So when a stranger looks at you, part of your brain briefly asks the oldest question there is. Is this a threat? Should you run? That question gets answered and dismissed in a fraction of a second, faster than you can consciously register it. But the chemical echo of the question lingers. Your pulse rises, your palms warm. Your body has already responded to a predator that was never there. Here is where it gets stranger. This same ancient circuit, built entirely for danger, is also the circuit responsible for one of the most powerful human experiences there is: connection. In the 1960s, psychologists Michael Argyle and Janet Dean proposed something called equilibrium theory. They found that eye contact and physical closeness are linked in the human mind like two ends of the same rope. Too much of one without the right amount of the other, and people feel uncomfortable. Stand very close to a stranger while making no eye contact, and it feels invasive. Make intense eye contact from far away, and it feels charged, almost intimate, even if no one moves an inch. Your nervous system treats gaze as a form of touch. Invisible touch, but touch all the same. This idea was pushed even further 3 decades later. In 1997, psychologist Arthur Aaron ran an experiment that has since become famous. He paired complete strangers and had them ask each other a series of increasingly personal questions. Then at the end, he asked them to do something simple: stare into each other's eyes in silence for 4 minutes. 4 minutes. No talking, just looking. Participants described the experience as intense, uncomfortable, occasionally overwhelming. Some reported feelings of closeness they would normally expect only after months of friendship. A few pairs later described falling in love. 4 minutes of sustained eye contact had rewired in real time how strangers felt about each other. Think about what that means. The exact same biological alarm that once screamed predator can, under the right conditions, screams something closer to intimacy. Your body cannot always tell the difference between a threat and a bond forming. Both spike the heart rate. Both trigger the same rush of alertness. Both feel physically remarkably similar. Why would evolution build something so double-edged? Because for early humans, gaze was never just about danger. It was also the fastest way to coordinate with your own group. A shared glance could mean danger ahead without a word being spoken. A held gaze could mean trust, an unspoken agreement to look out for one another. The same signal that once meant predator also became the signal for ally. Your brain never fully separated the two. This is why breaking eye contact too quickly can feel cold, almost rejecting, while holding it a beat too long can feel like an invitation or a challenge, depending entirely on context. You are not misreading the situation. You are running a calculation your ancestors ran 100,000 years before you were born, using the exact same wiring. There is another layer to this, one most people never notice. Human eyes are unusual among primates. Your sclera, the white part surrounding your iris, is far more visible than in almost any other species. Chimpanzees and gorillas have dark sclera that blends, with the iris making their gaze direction hard to read from a distance. Human eyes evolved the opposite way. Bright white, high contrast, easy to track even from across a room. Some researchers argue this was not an accident. It may have been selected for cooperation. A visible gaze lets other humans instantly know where your attention is pointed, which builds trust and coordination within a group. But that same visibility means you cannot hide when someone is watching you either. Evolution traded privacy for connection, and you are still living inside that trade every single day. Now think about the last time you rode in an elevator with a stranger. Notice how almost everyone's eyes drift upward toward the floor numbers or downward toward their phone. This is not an accident of modern life. It is a workaround for an ancient problem. Small enclosed space, close proximity, no clear social role for eye contact. Your nervous system does not have a script for that situation, so it avoids the trigger altogether. Compare that to a crowded party where holding someone's gaze a half-second longer than expected can feel like the beginning of something. Same biological circuit. Completely different context, completely different feeling. Even online, this circuit has not gone quiet. Video calls have a strange, well-documented side effect. The sense of being watched without ever quite achieving real eye contact, since the camera and the screen are never in the same place. Some researchers have connected this mismatch to the particular exhaustion many people feel after a long day of video meetings, a subtle, constant sense that something is slightly off. That connection is being attempted but never fully landing. Here is the twist most people never expect. The very same jolt you feel from a stranger's stare on the subway is chemically almost indistinguishable from the flutter you feel locking eyes with someone you are falling for. Fear and attraction share a surprising amount of biological real estate. Elevated heart rate, heightened alertness, a rush of adrenaline. Your body sends nearly identical signals for both experiences and lets your surrounding context decide which story to believe. This is why a first date so often includes a small jolt of nervous energy that feels almost like danger. In a very real sense, it is the same circuit, just wearing a different label. So the next time a stranger's eyes catch yours and your heart rate ticks upward, you are not imagining anything, and you are certainly not overreacting. You are feeling a system built across millions of years, one that once helped your ancestors detect the difference between a predator and a friend using nothing but a glance. It fires just as fast today as it did then. It cannot tell your morning commute from an open savanna. It only knows one thing. Something is looking at you. And in the story, your body is quietly telling itself that has never once been a small thing. Tonight, somewhere, a stranger will meet your eyes for half a second longer than expected. Your heart will speed up before your mind even catches up. That is not nothing. That is everything your ancestors ever needed to know, still running quietly beneath your skin.